Margie Horkins here from the Wisconsin Beef Council, and we're all excited because 'tis the season for corned beef. And I don't know what the deal is, but most of us just do it around St. Patty's Day. I say pick up a couple extra roasts, put one in your freezer, and freeze
them.
Yeah,
I tell people that all the time
because they're on sale right now. Yeah. So you know,
under $4 a pound.
It's cheap.
Under
They're
$4
cheap,
a pound,
and they will keep in your freezer for a few months. So roast one up another time of the year. Make some corn. Just leftovers are fantastic, and we're actually going to show you something to do with the leftovers. But first, we're going to talk about corned beef 101. Different ways that you can do it. I think a lot of people are they just throw it in the pot with water and boil it. Well, that's not my favorite way to do it.
No, 3 ways to do it mainly, because this corned beef is not tender. It's corned, it's pickled, it's the brisket.
Okay.
So it is not a tender cut. So we need to do a slow, moist cooking method.
And so when you boil it, it's not good.
Okay, but and you want to simmer it in a stock pot on the oven, or on the stove top, or slow cooker is good.
Yep, I like to do mine in the slow cooker.
Or the oven method. So
and that's what my mom always did, actually. She roasted it in the oven because it's that low, kind of slow heat, like you do a pot roast in the oven for a long time. And that's going to make it tender.
That's what we're going to do.
And I love the flavor it gets in the oven, too.
Yes.
I really do.
And it's easy to over-boil it on the stovetop.
I agree.
My preferred method is slow cooker, just because I like throwing stuff in
Yep.
slow cooker and leaving.
So,
10 hours on low. But on the stovetop, if you do like doing it that way, don't boil it for 3 hours. Just do a simmer.
Okay.
So kind of a slow bubble.
Okay. But we're going to roast it for you
We're going to roast it.
Okay, so here's our big, beautiful corned beef roast.
Yes.
Okay, and
we have an oven-proof pot.
Okay, so a Dutch oven. See, this doesn't have any plastic. So it's perfect to use. It'll go in the oven. But if you just have a big roasting pan, that will work too. So get this big old guy in here and get a big one, because it shrinks down.
They do shrink down.
And you want a few leftovers to make, some of the stuff that we're also going to be making. Okay, so brisket in.
So all we're simply going to add is the seasoning packet that came with.
Okay.
Some garlic. It calls for 6 cloves. So we're going to add a lot of garlic.
That's okay. It's a big piece of meat, and it's going to cook low and slow. So right in here.
Peeled.
Okay.
And then 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns whole. So some extra peppercorns.
Yeah.
And then 2 cups of water.
Okay.
This was almost a 4-pound brisket. I try and always buy bigger.
Yep.
The bigger, the better. And this was also a flat cut, too. When you go to the supermarket, you can flip the packages over and look at the brisket itself. There'll be 2 different cuts, and they won't usually be labeled. If they are, I prefer the flat cut.
I do, too.
It's much more of a rectangular shape. There's less waste on it. It stays a little bigger. It doesn't shrink down as much.
Slice is way easier, too.
Slice is way easier. And then there's also a point cut, which will be more of a triangular shape, and that might be cheaper per pound. But don't be thinking, well, maybe I should go less per pound. You don't have to.
Right,
because this is an inexpensive
It's less
cut.
waste,
So nice, tight-fitting foil lid.
Okay.
So we're going to foil it. We're going to put it in a 350-degree oven.
And how long?
3.5 hours for a brisket this size.
Okay, so it's going to take its good old time. Don't rush it. All right, so roast in.
Roast in. So then in the meantime, our roast is going to go in for 3.5 hours. We're going to do vegetables also in the oven. So roasted vegetables instead of boiled.
And I am not a big fan of boiled cabbage. I think it just kind of turns to nothing.
This cabbage is really good.
Ooh, I'm excited about
this.
It's
really good. So we're going to make butter onion sauce to go on the vegetables.
So we got some butter.
6 tablespoons of butter.
Okay. Horseradish sauce.
Horseradish sauce.
Or you could use straight up horseradish. You were saying that your kids love this, and maybe that's because it was a little milder because of the horseradish sauce.
Yeah.
If you like a little more heat, I love heat, so you could use the straight up
horseradish.
Yep. And then some scallions.
Yes, a cup of scallions or sliced green onion with some of the greens attached.
And salt and pepper?
Some salt and pepper.
Okay. Let that melt with the butter for a little bit.
So I have about 1.5 pounds of new red potatoes.
Okay.
That I washed. I'm just having them. And then the cabbage.
So you just kind of take the core out and
I'm going to wedge it. Yep.
Wedge it up. Okay.
4 wedges. And then take the core out. So when that butter is melted, we drizzle that over the vegetables.
And this is something you do maybe like the last hour of cooking?
Yeah, it says to put these in with about an hour left.
Okay.
So you got 2.5 hours of free time.
And St. Patty's Day falls on a Monday, so I think a lot of people are going to be celebrating this over this weekend,
Yeah.
so it's the perfect time to do that.
Slice that one in half again, too.
Yeah, I like cabbage when it's done the right way. When it boils and boils and boils, it just seems to get mushy. So this is going to have a little more texture to it. And you say your kids were just eating this out of the oven.
They were eating this yesterday out of the oven. I said, I have to take that to Green Bay.
You know, it's good when the kids are eating cabbage and begging for cabbage.
I'm going to pull the corned beef that's done
and
out,
I'm just
because then
waiting
we're
for
going to
this to
make a
melt.
glaze for that.
Okay. Do you need another saucepan for that? The glaze?
Well, I don't think we have to. I think
Or we
we'll
do
just
it
mix it in
microwave?
here, and
Okay.
then we'll put it on.
Okay. So this
and
is a
then
glaze that's going to go on the corned beef.
that goes on the corned beef, and then
Okay.
we'll broil that.
And
on
what
the top.
is in this glaze that I'm going to whisk
Orange
together?
marmalade
Okay. So a little bit of sweet.
and some Dijon. Set this right here on there.
Yeah. So just microwave that for a little bit, or do you even need to heat it?
I don't even think we need to heat it.
Just kind of whisk it together.
And then we'll broil it.
Okay. Yum. And I like that idea because it's going to get that roast a little bit brown. Sometimes it's not very appealing. It doesn't look so good, you know? Oh, does this smell good? Wow, wow, wow.
Now,
So here's our corned beef.
that's gonna be hot.
Whoop, yes, it is.
Here's hot pads.
Yep. About 3.5 hours in the oven. What was the temperature again?
350 degrees.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the fat cap off right
Okay.
now.
So get rid of that. That's how you
so
slice
then we
that.
can glaze it.
Okay.
Set that over there. And then we can put the glaze on, and then you can pop this back. Just turn your oven to broil when everything's all done at 2 to 3 minutes.
Doesn't take long
And
at all.
let that just heat up and kind of brown on there on the top.
Oh, goodness gracious. So what I think I'll do is put this back in the oven. We'll show you what it looks like when it comes out, because we want it to be all brown
Sure.
and yummy. How's our sauce doing there?
That looks perfect. So I think you can drizzle that right
You
over.
betcha.
Or if you use that
I want
if
to
you'd
turn
like.
this on broil.
And then we've got vegetables that are done.
So here's
Perfect.
our cabbage that's roasted. Oh my god, look at the potatoes. They get some nice color, and that's all it was just this butter sauce that goes
Just
over
the
the top?
butter, the onion, the horseradish, drizzle that on. Once you drizzle that on, we're going to cover the vegetables for about the first 40 minutes with
Okay.
foil.
Okay.
So steam them for about 40 minutes, take the foil off, and then let them roast the last 15.
Oh my goodness.
So they
wow.
get nice and golden like this. And we'll plate these up, and then after our corned beef broils, we'll put him right there.
That looks absolutely fantastic. And if you want to get the recipe for this corned beef, a couple ways you can get it. You can go to our website, fox11online.com, click on the Living tab, and it'll be right there. You will also, if people call, you'll get them on basically a monthly mailing.
Yes.
And you'll send out the recipes, Angie, that they do on the show free once a month. So once you're on that list, you don't have to keep calling. You used to have to just call every month. Now they got smart about it
We
here.
did.
So, so what's the number to call?
It's 1-800-728-BEEF, which is 2333.
And just tell everybody you're looking for the Beef Council recipes. Give them your information, and they'll send them right out to you. Can't wait to see what that corned beef looks like after it's all glazed. Ooh. And then what are we going to do with the leftover corned beef?
We're going to make Swiss cheese and corned beef and broccoli packs, so with a refrigerated pizza crust, so they're like little
Ooh.
pockets.
Fun. That's why we want you to make plenty of corned beef so you can turn the leftovers into this dish and more. So stick around. We'll be back.